Now it's the time to move on to the next panel discussion. That's going to be the fourth one for today, and that's going to be on customer experience in lending. So, to start this panel discussion, I would like to call the moderator first on the stage, and that's none other than Dr. Kumaran Sampath, MD, CEO, EGMA Capital Services Private Limited. Can we please clap for him, everybody? Next, would like to call all the panelists on the stage. Ms. Jasoda Gulia, Head Strategic Alliances, Finks Capital. Come on, everybody, keep clapping for them. Ms. Purvi Bhausar, Co-founder and MD, Pahal Financial Services Private Limited. Ms. Sunena Nagar, Deputy VP Treasury, SRG Housing Finance. Ms. Ambika Ravi, CEO, Vyna FinServe. Mr. Anish Chaudhary, CBO and founding member, IBDIC. Last but not the least, we have Mr. Rohit Dubey, Technology Program Leader, Piramal Capital. Thank you so much, everyone. I think we'll need one more chair for them. Can we please arrange the chairs on the stage? All right, Kumaran sir, the stage is all yours.
Hi guys. The most toughest, audible? Okay. The most toughest job is the last panel discussion most of the times, because we had a wonderful lunch, and after that the coming panel discussion was a little tough to manage, but the last one is even more tougher. So I think Jatinder's panel discussion only reminded me of one phrase called "Sing is King." So I think the earlier panel discussion was too good. I really liked it. And very rarely I see an anchor or a host reiterating the same thing, what exactly happened in that panel discussion. Very rarely I see that. I think wonderful job for that. So let me start in a very different perspective. Today we're talking about customer experience in lending. I'm sure everybody is in lending, and we're all chasing to make that one customer delight and happy. So I was just thinking, how do I start and how do I make people more engaged? Do you all know who's the largest employer in this country? Any guesses? You're very close. Any guesses? Yeah, I think you're bang on. The armed service is the largest employer in the country and also in the world. The second largest is the one which you told, Anish. Okay, just imagine, guys, what it really makes customer experience to take care of their employees. Just guess it out, okay? So with that, the most critical factor in our business, lending. So I think from morning we've been talking about AI, the digital world, and the ways and the way we do business, the way we automate our processes and make sure we are profitable in the race of building our entities. But at the same time, one of the most critical factors, or I would say the defining moment in our businesses, is always the customer experience. If the customer is not happy with you, or if the customer is not taken care the way he expects, I think we're all failed in our businesses. So today I have expert, and for a change, this is the first panel discussion, at least in my life, that I have the ratio of women and men is on the higher side. So I think it's the most toughest job to moderate, but I think it's also a great opportunity for me to get to know from them, because women means delight and empathy. I think they bring the best of the best to the customers. So I think, each one is excited to talk about your own entities, your own journey, because that's the most defining moment the audience is looking forward. Yeah, so with that, I think I will take the first question to Jashoda. Jashoda, I think AI and machine learning is a new buzzword now. And obviously, when I say AI and machine learning, it also reflects upon the customer service angle to it, because largely we are looking at to delight the customer. So your perspective on AI and machine learning, and absolutely, or if you have any a case study or a story to say, you are please welcome to say. You go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I would like to introduce my entity first. I represent Phoenix Capital. Phoenix Capital is a Mumbai-based NBFC. We are for a very long time into the market, though we recently changed our management and then rebrand ourselves and started operating recently. And we are a listed entity, so most probably whenever I will say something will not be able to give you more of the insight, since you know that yes, and listed entities have some limitations. While since we keep on discussing since morning about the AI and ML, certainly we cannot deny the fact, yes, it is creating impact and it is creating revolution while onboarding the customer in the lending services. So while we talk about in our journey, how we do and then what kind of customer segment we serving in, Phoenix Capital is majority into supply chain finance. So supply chain finance, we do entire services where it is required in the supply chain finance. We do PID, SID, vendor finance, and dealer finance, where certainly AI and ML plays a very important role, because this is a one-time kind of underwriting when we do for the anchor, and otherwise it is based on the decision-making based on the entirely journey, the behavior of the customer, kind of repayments we receive. Apart from that, interestingly, we are also into gig worker segment. So this is a kind of where financial inclusion happens. We serving to this gig workers loans, which starts from the 5,000 to 1 lakh, which is actually the bottom pyramid. Generally, we call it bottom pyramid of the customer, which where this financial inclusion happens, because most of the NBFC and banks do not serve this segment. So while serving this segment, certainly we take help of AI ML to onboard the customer, because end of the day, this is the kind of customer. It is not just by the we can define by the loan amount, but then this is a customer who cannot wait for a longer time for getting the amounts done. Receive. So if I, as you say that in case if I take a journey of any customer, so let me tell you, let me give you an example of one customer who is a beauty salon lady who requires immediate fund to buy some kit for providing these services. So in that case, this is a kind of work where they cannot wait for a longer time. And any NBFC won't provide loan unless they don't go through with the entire underwriting process, onboarding process, disbursal process. So where we are actually using some of the AI ML processes we are already taken in place, some are in process and some will come in very soon. So when we onboard a customer, it is, we require just immediate decision making, where based on the AI and ML, we take help of some industry data to analyze this kind of customer, so that we can give the instant yes or no at least. So in any ways, technology is that is a big advantage, where generally this kind of customer do not have the structured data. Rather, this is all about the unstructured data we based on. If I talk about structured data, which is we generally have in format of any documentation, they do not have any profit and loss balance sheet. They don't have any bank statement to show off. But then this is a kind of data we receive from their behavior pattern. किस तरीके से वो अपना कोई बाकी के जो यूटिलिटी बिल्स हैं वो पे कर रहे हैं, और किस तरीके से वो बाकी के अपने सोशल मीडिया अकाउंट्स में अपनी जर्नी रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहे हैं. तो छोटी छोटी चीज़ों से हम ये सोचते हैं कि वो किस तरीके से उनकी एक बिहेवियर पैटर्न होगा. तो वो analyzing each customer independently would be really difficult unless we are not using technology in place. Also, while underwriting also, we take this historical data and the data which is available, which is an informal way, we use that. Apart from that, for disbursement also. So disbursement में भी हम लोग जो use करते हैं ज़्यादातर instant disbursement. So I must proudly say that at Phoenix we generally used to disburse any loan for this segment within the 1 hour. So this is a kind of requirement generally happens, and this is kind of inclusion actually happening from our side. Talking about other benefited for certainly, because anyways customer satisfaction is a big role to play in the AI, where we give them the immediate decision making. Also, we are trying to educate them. We try to educate them because we are taking to them into the formal credit line, where generally these people are taking loan from the places where it is not into the formal banks or NBFC. But then we keep educating them that how it can impact their credit history, how it is actually it can help in future taking loans and everything. So this is how we're doing. And since I understand, because since you have taken the okay, so I have limited time. So in all, if I see the financial inclusion where technology is playing very big role, so we are proudly at least onboarding those kind of customers which are away from the bank and lending segment, and not just educating, but then providing good services to them. So this is how we're using the technology in that place.
Wow, I think you gave me a different perspective, and I still remember one line as I was starting my career way back. I think the earlier the panel discussion, they were talking about some 35 years back and all that. That model still exists, but it's actually done in a very different perspective. One particular aspect I want to leave it to the audience to think. So when you're onboarding a customer, just think the customer for life. If you're able to build this culture in your entity, if you're able to bring that perspective in your business model, if you're going to onboard that customer once, there's no onboarding of that customer again. He's going to be with you for a long time. So customer for life approach makes, I think, the organization much stronger. I think it's a fabulous insight you gave, Jasodia. And yeah, because if you look at the way organizations are built, I would say, yeah, I think with that, I have another question. Sorry for all this. When was the first NBFC started in India? Any guesses? You're all in the NBFC field and you're all in the same sector. When was the first NBFC started in India? Wrong. Faster, we don't have time. Very important for all of us to know. Okay, we are in the same business. The first NBFC was started in the year 1939. The name of the NBFC was Muthoot Finance. Anybody from Muthoot Finance? So why did I ask this question? There's a relevance. If you have to bring in that customer delight and experience, you need to know what the customer needs specifically. It is not a generic business. We want to build organizations and products. We need to know what will make the customer delight. Okay, I'll go to the next speaker. Purvi, how are you doing? All the way from Ahmedabad. Yeah, Purvi, I think, so what do you think about customer expectations? I think it's a world of digital and AI era. In your perspective, how do you see your organization? I'm sure, I think you're in microfinancing,
That's
the
right.
most toughest area you are in. So how do you see the digital and AI? At the same time, how do you see customer experience in your journey? Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. First of all, those who do not know much about the microfinance essentially works for bottom of pyramid. 99 or more than 99% customers are women, and 70% of the customers as we speak, or more than 70%, are from the rural areas. So the toughest possible segment is what microfinance caters to. In terms of what customer expects in the era of AI and digital, I think, we are so used to Swiggy, Zomato, Uber, Ola, because it is very quick, it is very easy, it is affordable and so easily available, So we are mostly looking at convenience. And when it comes to this particular segment, I don't think they are looking at anything which is very, very different. So, the expectation of a customer is also in this segment is also something which is very simple, something which is very convenient, given that they are not very literate or digital savvy customers. So they want something simple, very convenient for them to do it. And more importantly, it has to be something which is more empowering than, making them dependent on other people. So the very similar expectation that any urban or literate or digital or tech savvy customer would have it, very pretty much similar expectations that customers have in this segment as well. And how we are trying to cater to this is, if you just go back a little bit behind in time, it was all pen and paper model because, microfinance started because there were no KYCs, and microfinance started because there were no bank accounts, and all the disbursements used to happen about 5-6 years back, till the time the Jan Dhan accounts and all were not so rampant and the coverage was not so good. We used to withdraw 10-20 lakh cash on a given day. Our person used to travel with that kind of a cash. 100 people would gather in the branch and we would be literally distributing cash in the branch. That's how we always worked. From there, as an institution, we have come a long way where the entire process is moved digital. It is end-to-end paperless. So right from the time that you generate the lead to even signing the agreement, everything is moved digital. And this also means that, we have done a lot of integrations, whether it is for KYC validation or credit bureau evaluation or penny drop or your geo-fencing, geo-tagging to make sure that, customer is within certain area, serviceable area for us, to penny drop to make sure that the amount is going in the right bank account. So earlier, disbursing, and when we started, our first loan ticket size was 5,000 rupees. And this is disbursed in a group, and group is essentially a group of women, 5 to 15 women coming together and underwriting each other because they don't have any other collateral to offer. To moving to a situation where we are able to disburse in maximum 2 days, that too because we follow a proper financial literacy or education process. It takes 2 days, otherwise it can be done end-to-end in less than 2 hours. Technology-wise. So we have really moved a long way. Now the collections also are started to become digital. Of course, it is not yet reached 100%, but 30-40% collections have also started becoming digital. And how this is going to be useful to the customer, because right now they don't have any data. They don't have documents to prove that they are good customers. They are very credit-worthy customers. And in the absence of that, they always end up paying higher interest rates, not getting the loans in time. So once they have digital footprints, and government is also working on a Grameen scorecard, all those elements put together, they will really move to a next level where basis the alternate data, their credibility will be evaluated and they will be able to get a lot of benefits which they don't get today. So that's how Pehel is working on the AI and digital journey.
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the things which I would like to reiterate here is as I was starting my career, I still remember getting my first bike loan. And interestingly, there was a huge traffic out there and I was just on the signal, and the kind of excitement which I had in getting that first loan, the two-wheeler bike loan, though it was a pre-owned bike. It was an unbelievable experience. Each and every microfinance customer would have that kind of a delight the moment he gets that money, I bet. Because we have seen those customers evolving over a period of time, and that is the best example of customer for life journey. Okay, I think interesting perspective, Purvi. Yeah, so with that, I think it's like one male and one female combination. Yeah, Anish, I will go with you. So you've been a champion and you're from a very unique company. And I think your entity itself is a digital public infrastructure entity. And who else is the best person to explain about the digital and how do you solve customer gaps and how do you address the customer needs in the banking space.
Thank you so much. Am I audible? Yeah. I think the true gender parity would come when we stop even counting, right? Odd, even, or whatever. But yeah, good to see a mixed panel finally. The thing is, so just a quick thing, IBDIC, Indian Bank's Digital Infrastructure Company, is essentially a DPI company which has been created and it's owned by 18 leading banks of India. So you have State Bank, HDFC, ICICI, they're all equal shareholders in this organization. And just like NPCI built for payments, we are now making an attempt to build for green shoot areas, which will take us closer to the Viksit Bharat mission, especially in the areas of MSME financial inclusion, trade finance, and frauds. Now, when we talk about customer experience, I think the fundamental railroad starts with access, because if you don't even have access to services, you can't even build anything, on top of friction. So I'll just talk about 2-3 interesting dimensions in terms of how we are trying to solve and how the overall ecosystem is coming together. One, I don't know if all of us really appreciate how digital infrastructure is a truly unique Indian way of development. I think when I was growing up, I used to study about Jugaad innovation, and later on it became almost an appendage of something like a country which cannot build uniqueness out of anything, right? And we were copy pasting the Western models. But with NPCI, with Jan Dhan, with there's so many initiatives, right? From Digi Yatra, we've now finally got an ecosystem where we are able to transact very seamlessly and build a lot of economic value on top of it. Now, similarly, when I'll talk about 2 things. So recently, we've got an RBI approval. We are the only company which is now moving towards an asset tokenization use case, and where we have actually built a platform on a blockchain which enables MSMEs to access credit on supply chain. Now, let me try to simplify what it exactly means. In supply chain financing, you have typically got a corporate, and then you have a supplier to that corporate. Now, typically lenders, banks and NBFCs prefer to lend on the invoices against the goods supplied by the seller to the large corporate because of the credit worthiness of the corporate. Now, this ecosystem is a elite club because there are only 6,000 odd corporates in India. So the smaller MSMEs who are supplying to another set of MSMEs or smaller corporates do not get easy access to credit. So in my hypothesis is that if we have to fill in the 25 trillion odd MSME credit gap, you need supply chain financing to really grow in a big manner, because it takes care of shorter working capital needs of MSMEs, and yet it is end use monitored because of invoices. The risk is lesser and the money keeps rotating. So it's actually a credit builder product, so to speak, from a lender's lens. Now, if that has to permeate, what we have done is on the blockchain, we have said, why just tier 1 supplier? You bring in your second layer, third layer, fourth layer suppliers. We tokenize the invoices which have been accepted by the large corporate in the front, right at the beginning. And those tokens can be distributed by the first supplier to his second, to his third, and so on. And on the due date, the original invoice gets paid by the corporate anchor to the lender, and all the tokens extinguished. So essentially what we have done is, using technology, we are able to borrow from the credit worthiness of a large rated anchor and downstreaming that to the chain, so that it doesn't matter whether the MSME is credit worthy enough or not, the credit risk is out of the way. And this entire, the experience gets you the access, and the whole thing is very seamless. Blockchain sounds a very complex technology. It's all in the back end, front end is a simple UI, which can plug and play. The other thing that we are building on is we have recently signed an MOU with DGFT, which is we're essentially getting into Bharat Trade Net, a big DPI initiative announced in the budget in 2025. Now, this entire DPI is about simplification, digitalization of the trade ecosystem in India. Now, if India has to grow, we know about exports being a big part, imports being more effective, the cost of cost of trade, access to markets. We all know what's happening with trade wars and tariff wars. It's very important that we reduce the inefficiencies, get in more access to all the players in the hinterland and across. So this entire initiative is going to take shape over the next few years and can dramatically add points to the entire GDP. Now, in this space, just to give you one example, that one of the subsets that we have already about to launch next month is about all the trade documents today. Just to give you a perspective, if I have to discount a bill, an inland LC bill, it takes roughly 7 days, because there are multiple banks involved. and then multiple customers and ecosystems. This 7 days will come down to 1 hour because everything will get created digitally, get signed digitally, and moved digitally. Frauds will come down. We all have seen in 2018 the twin balance sheet problem. If you go back, majority of the frauds running into thousands and lakhs of crores in the country have happened because of fake LC bills and non-existent customers. All of this will gradually get obviated because there's a lot of transparency and seamlessness. The income will grow, the efficiencies will improve, right? So these are some of the examples that we are building, and we are quite committed to this. And of course, we invite the whole ecosystem to come together and build for the country.
That's great. Anish, interesting perspective. I'm looking forward and bring a new way of doing business and the customer delight. I just got one line to say, improve the experience and everybody wins. Such a very strong line. I think everybody should carry upon and see how you can make this happen in your entities. I'll just reiterate the same words. Improve the experience and everybody wins. Yeah, ma'am, with that, I have one of our industry experts, been in the business for many years. Your understanding of customer experience and the repayment behavior, and your perspective and wisdom, the way you're seeing customer journey, please.
Thanks. Primarily, I've been a banker for last 36 years across 3 types of banks: SBI, which is a PSU; Standard Chartered for a good 22 years, which is a MNC; and IDFC First, which is a private bank. So my career has been throughout these 3 banks. And okay, can you guys hear me? Yeah. Sorry if anybody missed the earlier part. So across the 3 banks in leadership positions, managing India and South Asia. So, and recently we have, I joined about 1.5 years ago with Vyna. Vyna has been pioneers in supply chain finance, a topic which Anish just explained what is supply chain finance about, so I don't want to repeat that. It is the linkages between supplier and seller and buyer, and we fund that. It could be either the seller or the buyer. And Vyna as a parent, Way Networks, has been in this business where we have the platform and the technology and connected with more than 15 banks and 5 NBFCs, facilitating supply chain throughout the country. Close to about $15 billion move through our counters. So as a fallout of that, the idea was, let us start a lending institution with expertise in supply chain finance. That's how Vyna Finserv as an NBFC has been born. It's a very nascent baby. We got a license only in December 24, last day of the month. And we are already in business. We started our first transaction in May, and we have a robust book now, and we are just growing by leaps and bounds. As Anish gave the numbers of 25 trillion, precisely the need for MSMEs is only growing. With the Make in India, Viksit Bharat, there's a lot more requirement for lenders who can cater to this set of borrowers. That's a little about Vyna Finserv. That's where we are. Now, coming to customer experience, it's all about knowing your customer and his needs. I mean, I have tons of examples and experience handling various types of customers in the banking system and now in the NBFC. The more you are intimate with the client, understanding his needs is what would make you a successful lender. There is nothing, no compromise for not knowing the client, his pain points, needs. You cannot sell a product, you have to be selling solutions. I just want to give an example. We are all familiar with this largest carrier flight, which is in India, which was at least earlier it was, which was Air India, right? And maybe a decade or 15 years ago, it was mired in losses. Not that it is not still running in losses. After Tatas have taken over, things have changed. But when it was a public sector unit, it was running into huge losses. And I was having a chat with the director of finance, and I said, "What is your biggest cost?" He said, "My import bill, because I've got to pay immediately when a Shell or a Chevron bills me when my flights go abroad. And for me, that is a big cost because I have to dip into my OD from SBI, which is about 10-11% was at that point in time. And that's causing me the worry." So I thought through that this is their problem. How can I solve it? So I met Reserve Bank of India, told them that, "Look here, here is a national carrier going abroad, fueling there. Why shouldn't we be giving import buyers credit to Air India rather than them dipping into OD book and paying?" Because that time, those days, LIBOR was just about 0.5% or lower. Since they were having international billing, the monies in Forex coming into the country, they had a natural hedge. They need not have actually gone into hedging. So which means even if I charge him 3% over LIBOR, he would have been paying 3.5% or 4% versus 10% for a huge import bill. So Reserve Bank of India, after a lot of persuasion, understanding the problem which the national carrier is facing, they gave us special permission for us to grant buyer's credit, because we were an international bank. We could give them buyer's credit in dollars for their payments to the various fuel providers. So the idea is, had I not had that conversation and understanding what is his pain point, I wouldn't have been able to structure what is his. I couldn't have been just another bank saying, "Hey, what do you want? Can I give you another 1,000 crore loan or a 500 crore loan? Please take it from me. Instead of 10%, I'm able to give it to you at 9.75. Is that going to make a difference? Probably no. So my take is, if you have to give the best delight to a customer, you have to understand his needs, his requirements, pain points, and give them the best possible solution within the regulated ambit. So that is where I feel a customer has to be very well understood.
Wow, I think very, very apt example because Air India, as we speak, even what you say, in fact, I was flying in Air India today. So it's such a lovely airlines. But I think whatever you did and whatever story you were able to reiterate, I'm able to refresh the moment actually how it would have really helped the airlines to want to come back. At the same time, I think it was one of the best examples, I would say.
And just to add a little bit to it, of course, the central bank also had its concerns because fuel is getting imported from there. By the time it comes into the country, it's burnt out. And RBI guidelines said that when you import something into the country, it has to actually come into the country, whereas the fuel was getting burnt. So that is why they took a while to get this, which we proved with a lot of invoices and everything, and then it was all fine.
Just to reiterate, I think slightly out of the syllabus. Okay, why only very few people go on to be leaders? Any thoughts? Everybody is a super sales manager, everybody is knowing everything, but very few go on to be leaders. I think, ma'am, you reiterated the same thing. It's not about only doing business. You need to know the nitty-gritty of the businesses, what really it means when it comes to compliances or the technicality of our business. That is how you go on to be leaders. I think it's a slightly new perspective you gave today, even for me. Thanks for that. So the ratio continues. I think she will not tolerate. So I think I'll go with her. Then finally you, Rahul. Yeah, Sunena. I just got to know Sunena just stays 500 meters from this hotel. Okay, so you're not in a hurry to go. But yeah, the customer is waiting to know your experience and journey in your company. I think it's a fabulous business model you all have in your company where you all are kind of a mini micro lab business model, very unique, which I've heard. and the ticket size are between 8 to 10 lakhs is what you all do. And just say some wonderful experience or your perspective or your organization, how do you focus on the customer experience?
Thank you.
Just go.
Thank you, Mr. Sampath. So just to give a brief, we are SRG Housing Finance. We provide housing loans to customers which are underserved, targeting the areas which is tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 kind of place, which is not even considered tier, we say villages in India. Customer profile would be similar to what Purvi just explained, the women also, men also, but largely rural sectors. In terms of ticket size, we provide some 8-10 lakh rupees loans, and these are largely for housing. Person would have a house of their own, wants to reconstruct it, or maybe have a plot, ancestral plot, and wants to construct a house on that. So in rural India, many people, I mean, when we say village, when I said village, most of us would have thought of a place which we have seen in the movies where, you know, kacha makan and the jhopadis are there, but that's not the case. India has changed and changed beautifully. When I'm saying tier 2, tier 3, these are small towns, not that we see in people life, but what we see in a movie like Bareli Ki Barfi sort of things. So you know these affluent India which is now coming, and they are youth. They like when we talk about customer, the first thing comes in my mind or in anybody's mind would be, and especially housing, a person of maybe 40 years, but now it has come down to 28, 30 kind of age. So to that age bracket, now they know they are quite literate also. Though they are not very affluent and they don't know, they might not be able to speak English. So what we are trying to do in terms of customer services, most of my loan passes through the sales representative only. There is, I mean, we don't do that kind of login that a person has to do themselves, because they are not every person is that much literate. My sales representative comes to the customer, meets him, and then logs the files into the system. But now for every file, there was a call which used to go to the customer, and that call, previously it used to go manually. A human would do the call, get all the entries like date of birth, address, everything else about the business or about the property details, everything. Now what we are doing is the AI would be doing this call. It's a chatbot. At the same time, while AI is doing this call, the CAM file is filed. The CAM file largely is the decision maker, and they tell us that, basis this credit score and basis the property and income that this person have, this can be the loan. So now a person is being called, it can be a video call also. He can see also how the process is flowing. At the time of the call, the file is also in the background is being uploaded, and looking at those data. Now suppose if I said my name, my date of birth, and my PAN number, the AI would directly access, the API would directly get the PAN, the credit score, and tell the customer can see himself also where he lands on the credit scoring model. So he knows I'm a good, average, or bad customer. Then if suppose in some case, if it is a bad customer also, they would tell them how he can improve. If suppose there was some small, like recently, even yesterday only we got this update that RBI is saying even if you default for one day, your phones will be hacked, your phone will be locked. So we are trying to educate these people that, if you do such kind of things, if you default in your earlier loans, then there will be a problem in taking loans. And now what we are doing is that we are educating them in, suppose in the same call, if the person says, I might not be able to pay this much EMI, what to do? At the same time, the calculation will change. It will tell them, okay, if you think you are not able to pay, firstly, they give the confidence that basis your income, basis the records that you have shared, we think that you will be able to pay this much EMI. So it gives the confidence to the customer also. And then if the person say, no, I want a shorter EMI, it will at the same time provide them this thing, the calculation that, okay, if you want to extend the tenure, this will be the record. Now, if he asks at the same time, as he's asking and the calculation is being generated, at the same time, if he asks that, I want to know If I pay, because I suppose if he is a garment trader business, so if he thinks that because I do good business in Diwali time, I want to prepay every year one EMI early, what would happen then? So he would also get to know that this is how your tenure would come down, and you will be paying it early. So everything, it's very small task. The calculation are very easy. We already had this Excel defined earlier, but because the customer call center that we used to have earlier, they are not much the kind of employees that we had. They also did not know, and they would have to go back to the customer saying, we will revert to you shortly. Now that is not happening, and that is helping us in improving the customer experience. They are trusting the process. They also know where exactly the application lies, and that's how this is helping us.
Oh my God! Wow. So what do I say? I think your business model itself is designed towards a social responsibility. Okay, when I say social responsibility, in our technical term, what is a priority sector lending? I'm sure I
Yes,
think
it
the
is a
owners,
priority
your boss is there, and your boss's son is there. I think you guys are doing a great job, because if you're going to address those segment, particular home loan, because these are the segment which is actually untapped. Because you're going to tier 4 cities, and 8 to 10 lakhs funding, you're going to definitely give them a life. So I think the model itself is a delight model. So where is the question of experience? So I think good job. I think you are like a teacher. You took us through from the whole process. Well done. I think good job. So Rohit, Rohit is a champ in the AI and from Piramal Group. Rohit, your perspective, I think from morning we've been talking about AI and the whole lot of things. We had expert speakers. I'm sure I think you have a very different perspective. And how do you bring in AI into business? Because I think this is a word it's going to go on and on and on for the next few years now. It's not going to end. But at this juncture, the world is evolving very fast. I would say a tsunami of the digital or avatar changing. So where do you see our business is going, and where do you bring in that customer delight? Okay, where we are talking about 5 minutes approvals and all these days. Yep.
Right. So I think, thank you. So overall, like we had a great panel, and I think the perspective what Ambika madam brought, like without touching the customer, how can you say customer is delighted? But at the same time, like I think being Air India, a huge customer, but when we look at the books where you have a customer servicing team which has to look at, like, let's say 1,000 customers in a branch. So there we have to basically educate, or like rather give him a tool or a lot of vast knowledge, so that this end user who's servicing the customer has all the exposure to educate his customer faster. And sometimes AI is a big boon, like in this area. So at Piramal Finance, we have building a lot, and we are like quite ahead in terms of the AI strength compared to other NBFCs in space. So I'll come up with one example, like what we have done in terms of customer servicing experience. Like we have SFDC for supporting CRM, but then what we have done on top of it, because this large CRM products which we go for has a cost. Again, when we go for a cost, there is a building cost. And then when you go for a building cost, you need certain set of developers and teams. So how do you reduce, or how do you architect or design this technology in such a way that this becomes reusable across all your ecosystem, and it also becomes an independent layer of a system topology on top of all businesses. So let's say a customer related data is required in my organization. So I build a AI application to basically cater all 360-degree data from the customer's perspective. And this will sit on top of my collection, on top of my CRM, on top of my LMS, on top of my any system you talk about in the Piramal ecosystem. So once this kind of system sits on top of it, it does not have to do redevelopment. When in the traditional systems, when we used to build do a development or delivery across any particular system, we used to have development timeline across every system. happening. So with the advent of AI and the niche technology which is coming up, what we do is we build one system and then it takes care of all your customer related data across any platform or organization it needs, and then it solves all your problem. Like for out of box capability from the CRM perspective, you can go with the niche of the product like SFDC, CRM Next, or whichever you go for. And when it comes to building a small hand task like availing the customer related data, you can use this AI to build a complete customer centric or customer 360 ecosystem, which will take care of which will solve your cost to an extent of not involving an enterprise level developer, because again, the product is one cost, the getting an architect to build the entire capability on this particular product is another cost. So one side you save this, and over the time you can build this AI enabled capability in such a way that you build yourself a new product over this. So this is how AI is reshaping our organization or any other organization. In fact, the product organizations are adopting the same methodology.
Now, one thing I think very interesting perspective again. So one thing I would like to reiterate on what a Piramal. I have many good friends in the Piramal group. They have a very interesting model when somebody applies for a home loan. Okay, it's a very well designed model. It's like walk the talk. If somebody applies for the loan, from that till the last journey of the disbursement, very well designed process. I think everybody should take some kind of a.
So
I'm
we,
sure I
we
think you should
have
be
our
doing
own
that.
models in
Yeah.
place. Like there's different set of teams keep building, and we have your bring your own tech. Now it does not require you to be a developer or a tech person to build an application.
Yeah.
A person like you can go sit in front of the system, talk to it like I want to build something
Yeah.
to delight my customer and give these kind of end inputs to the customer or sales team or anything else. And the moment I say you go out of the room,
Yeah.
you come with your breakfast and your system is ready. And next 1-2 hours for the deployment to happen.
No, absolutely. I think what such forums is important is not about just attending and taking some experience out of it. Okay, what do we carry on the best practices? Even if one entity or any company is going to take some bit of whatever you practice, I think we have done with the event. So I think well done as an
I
organization per se.
think the start is something at which you will have all the nuances of your InfoSec
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I think what you're talking about, the right practices,
Yeah.
we did it when we started using the AI practice. The start was a bit difficult to convey and to convince that the InfoSec team this is required and this is essential. But
Perfect.
once we build and once we set that agenda between us and InfoSec, it's just a one-click approval.
I really appreciate. I think I'll ask one last question. Which is the largest NBFC in the country today? No, we have one more round to go. Don't worry. One small round. Yeah. Any idea? Which is the largest NBFC in the country? Audience. Okay, who said it? You're perfectly 100% right. Bajaj Finance. Okay, you know why Bajaj Finance is number one? Okay. TK, we'll debate offline. But just to give a perspective about Bajaj Finance, why Bajaj Finance is number one? Okay, let's assume for our debate's sake, Bajaj Finance is number two. But you know why they are the leading partner? If at all, if anybody have to visualize the way the digital evolution is, practice or considered or to be taken as a best practice, I think that's a company to watch out. So this forum, you can also take away that as a one setting example. So if you have to change your way you do business, one company to watch out. Yeah, without, I think I'll not take much time. We have limited time. So each one will have 1.5 minutes. Could be a small story to say or some experience about customer and or anything that the audience can take away. So I'll start with you, Jasodia.
Thank you. So where we are all talking about the AI and ML. So apart from that, that is a very important thing that whenever we make any technology, we certainly look for the feedback from the customer. So it is very important to segmenting the particular customer. For us, it is also very important where it comes from. Generally, when we take this, customer support feedback. I think most of us would be agree that customer support is one of the another head while taking any strategy, while taking any decision making, whether making another new product and amending any product and meeting the competition. So customer support, where we generally get that is another pillar for us, and we get the genuine feedback of the customer, complaints, queries. Basis on that, we are able to make the absolute product for the customer which is required. So while we talking, as earlier I was talking about the gig workers, where it comes from when we generally get the queries that yes, are you serving this segment, do you have loan for us, do you have 5,000 रुपए का loan. Initially तो सोचने में लगता है कि 5,000 रुपए का loan, but then it is coming from the feedback that yes, this is also requirement, this is also required in the instant level. So basis on that, we are able to make decision on that, and then it is very nice hearing from every one of us that we all are the part of financial inclusion, and I'm sure everyone would be, because we are trying to serve that kind of customer which is not which is not in the bank's bucket. And I must appreciate Ambika ma'am's experience also, where she's as she's saying, we cannot make a product unless we don't have the complaints, we don't have genuine feedback of the customer. So is for the AI and ML also. At the larger level, we cannot make any product which is actually suitable for us, which is actually helpful for us, but then also for the customer. So we need to segment initially that yes, in case we're making any technology, are we really providing solution for that? और या फिर ऐसा हो रहा है कि वो उसमें stuck हो रहे हैं और ज़्यादा complex हो रहे हैं. तो मुझे लगता है कि this comes from the customers only. What kind of services, what kind of technology they requires.
Wow, I think I will go to Purvi, but before I go there, I still remember I was just walking into a shop to buy some garments. It had written, "Customer is a king. King doesn't bargain." So I was just wondering, we are a citizens where we are almost by design 50 buy one take one free or 50% off. So it had written, "Customer is a king and king doesn't bargain." So I would rephrase it to, "Customer is a king and king these days don't compromise." With that, Purvi, your perspective.
So, taking from where you left, customer is a king, customer doesn't bargain, doesn't compromise. These days, one of the biggest challenge while we are talking about a lot of technology is also about customer loyalty. And most people struggle with how do you earn the loyalty of a customer. Of course, with the new generation, loyalty also is becoming a bit challenging in everything. But generally, and something to quote, I was reading something very interesting. This guy from Tata Motors, Naidu, he was talking something very interesting, and I liked what he was saying. We all try and solve the problem by using technology, by new innovation, but empathy is something that is always underrated. So when it comes to particularly the kind of customers, the bottom of pyramid inclusivity that we are talking about, couple of things along with technology, which is very important, which we always tend to overlook, is the trust, because financial services is all about how much can I trust, how competitive am I, and how good I am in terms of what I said and what I actually ended up offering. So with technology, the trust, the relevance, the products and the services have to be relevant all the time. And that also means that innovation has to continue to happen. You cannot just sit, happily with one or two or a few products that you're offering. So the need to continuously innovate, and not just in terms of the technology, but overall requirement of the customer. And for the segment that we deal with, the inclusion, not just offering them a loan or one particular product, but also making them a part of that journey. Financial inclusion, digital inclusion, and just holding their hand so that they can become a part of the larger picture or the digital economy. if all this happens, then the technology and the benefits of the technology can be realized.
I think perfect, well said. I would also say shouldering with the customer would be a right way to look at it. The moment you do that, I think you understand him better and you also travel the journey. Ma'am, your perspective?
Empathy, as Purvi mentioned, is absolutely critical. If you have got to lend a ear to the customer, he might be the very fact that he's approaching you is because he has some need or a problem to be solved or lack of knowledge. Many a times we do see customers who do not know the various options that it is available for them to make the best of the situation. So we have to take that extra pain or ability to educate them on what are the various options that he has, and given his circumstances, what is the best solution that will benefit him. We have got to be a mentor based on our financial knowledge as to what would be the best suited solution to his grievance. Or for that matter, if he has a serious complaint, how do we convince him or cajole him or make him feel good factor? Primarily by listening to what has gone wrong. Was his expectation something which was beyond our deliverable? How do we try to help him and keep his expectation in the right way? Because many a times we as human beings, at least when we are having a direct interaction, would expect certain deliverables at the quickest possible time. It may be possible for every organization to do that or may not be. But how do we convince the client as to whatever is being done is to their best of their interest and best of the ability of the organization? So that needs a lot of empathy to understand where he is coming from, where the customer is coming from, give him a full need to understand his issues and then carve out the solution which will always help him.
Oh, ma'am, perfect. So I think I could say, I think one word will be the right word for this is customer centricity. If you're able to have that approach in your business model, come what may, just take a wild guess, the most busiest branch in Mumbai, and just see, let's say, example, SBI counter. You have thousands of customers coming, and you could see all the men and women serving them the same attitude, and imagine what they would be going through every single day. Just a thought in your mind. Yeah. Anish, your perspective.
Sure. So I often try to wonder, people love money, but they don't love banking as much, right? Because of the lack of customer empathy processes. I think I would say that three, if I may take the liberty, there are 3 P's I say are very important to build a customer-centric organization: processes, platform, and people. I'll focus more on processes at this point. Quite underestimated. And let me give a classic example of a Taj hotel versus banking. We've all experienced the delight. It's a service industry. In manufacturing, it's tough because you can't hide behind bad quality. If you have a broken panel, it's a broken panel. You can't hide. But in service, it's very easy to hide because there's so many angles to it, right? But then you have a hotel industry which manages to give very good customer experience, but not so much when it comes to banking or, for that matter, various other industries. Now, the thing about processes is that it starts with what does my customer need? And then I translate it into an outcome. In lending, the way to look at it philosophically, we are processing information. We're doing nothing else. We're processing information and cash is going out, cash is coming in. That's all we do. But if you have to process information, what is the most optimal way of processing that information? That's your processes. Then you build tech on top of it. The biggest problem with us is we lack in system thinking, we lack in design thinking. And that's the reason we are always firefighting in our organizations. Because from day one, when we conceive something, we get excited about the idea. And beyond a point, we don't like to go into the depth of things. And we say, chalo karte hain, fir dekha jayega. So MVP becomes dekha jayega, and then we keep doing fixing and we keep building a lot of processes. Now, it will not sound nice. I know in a panel, one is supposed to speak good stuff, but I think when a Viksit Bharat is being thought through, it's also important to be self-critical. and see that how we can actually ensure that from day one, we spend enough time designing the processes right and then getting into the options of what is the solution that we should build.
Well said.
Because today, for instance, a large bank has 500 to 1,000 vendors on
Yeah.
tech side. Imagine managing them. And I can see across banking and lending, we are really struggling to innovate.
Yep.
Everybody is fighting regulatory changes and tech backlogs. Tech backlogs are running into a couple of years in certain banks. It's all
Yeah.
because there's a logjam of processes. We see
Yep.
it on our roads and streets, and we are seeing it in the back end on the shop floor and in the tech
Yeah.
side. It's important to unlock it wherever any new NBFCs are coming up, new departments, banks. We have to think afresh,
Yeah.
empathy, etc. Start with that and get your processes right.
I'm sure, I think when it comes to tolerance, I think we are the best in the world because we tolerate so many things on the world. The moment you get out of the hotel, you have to test your own tolerance. So thanks for that. I love all the banks who give money. So you said you don't like banks, so I love the banks which all give money. Yeah, the money, yeah. Yeah, Sunena, very quickly.
Yeah, so exactly picking up from where Anish left. Sadly, we are in an industry where the customer never gets a dopamine hit. And today, everybody needs a dopamine hit. So when, like suppose somebody paid an EMI, he will never get a dopamine hit. So why a customer is coming to you, whether he would have some query, whether he has some problem with the loan statement or whatever. So how we can help, how we can assist him. First, transparency, that's the key. We have to be very clear in the process, where is he standing today? That is one. And obviously sorting out our processes. And the last one is, how can we help him in the language that he understands? For us, that is the most important, even if we are using machine or we are talking to people, because in India, the language doesn't change with the state, it changes with the region. So we have to have some I don't know, I cannot hire n number of people to talk to these kind of, these many people, but how can I help them in the language that they understand the most and be empathetic to them, obviously understand. Now, suppose he wants a loan account statement, he doesn't have to go to n number of clicks and then get a loan account statement. And if he's asking for a loan account statement, he would need something out of it. So suppose why my EMI reduced today. So if he knows, if he can follow up with the same question and get the answer at the same time, that would give him the satisfaction of coming to me, and that's how we'll do better in the business.
Well said, your score 100 marks. The boss's son is here. So I think our appraisal is over. She scored 100 marks in the panel discussion. Yeah, Rohit.
Yeah, I think I'll conclude quickly. So I think continuing to the panel's point, plus I'll talk on AI once. So I think whatever Anish said, like we have to document, like we need to document, that's for sure. But then it has to have some finite end. Whatever documentation we do when we sit back in our corporate offices, like at the end, there will be some gaps. So it's like, kuch point pe to karna to padega. So at the end, I would say ki, we need to have that finite time and some kind of a process set, like so that start and end is defined and that time is done. So, but at the end, there's no end to documentation. Like something, somewhere, some place we find some gaps. So this is about the panel point. And last point, I'll just conclude. So I was just talking to one of my colleagues. So like, what is AI? Like how should it be used? It should be like a coriander. Then another colleague whom I said about the same thing. So like it should be like a salt. Then he said, nay, salt is like quite cheaper. So because AI is something which is not so cheap, like you cannot use it anywhere or everywhere because there's a cost for per transaction you do within AI. So how should it be? It should be like a paneer. I think being a foodie person, I would say, use it wisely when the guest comes or when the right things are required. Use it where it is really required. Thank you.
No, I 100% acknowledge with that. I think digital AI, I think we'll have many more new things coming, but the human touch in our business will always remain. It again depends on the model and business which you run. For example, if you're going to run a commercial vehicle, used commercial vehicle lending, there's no way you're going to have AI. You have to go meet the customer, you need to see the asset and then take a call. Obviously, certain things can be automated. The world will evolve, world will move faster. From 2 days, what you're saying about loan has come to 5 minutes, and I don't know what's going to happen next. but the human touch and values will always remain. I think one thing we should all want to carry in our business model is empathy to everyone. Everybody needs something. If you're able to be that person who's going to support and help in the journey of building business, that is where we are. Doesn't matter microfinance, car finance, or bill discounting, whatever we do. That one empathy, if you're going to build in your business model, every single employee should talk about that language. We are a small organization, but with a big heart, we'll be the best example to the world. So that's how we've been as Indians. Thank you so much. I'm sure somebody is really waiting for the question. Yeah, here you go.
Amazing conversation, and there are a couple of points which I really connected, and which I would have to connect with you and to the son of owner of the sun. Transparency, empathy. I had a question on this, that how do you maintain empathy and trust in a largely automated processes? I had this question on a customer is having a high risk but still expects a frictional experience. How do you manage the risk management with customers?
I'll actually front end, I'll save you in that aspect. Okay. Life is all about examples, right? At home you go, your wife will say, look at that guy and see, man. Your father will say, look at that guy. So we are all in the same business, right? Okay, I think one example which I would say empathy, the values, core values, all that. I think from where you're coming is what I'm trying to give the right example. Sundaram Finance is one such company. The world is evolved, the models have come, so many things have changed. If you look at Sundaram Finance, is going much stronger day by day. Commercial vehicles, they are the champions in commercial vehicles. But you should go and look at the model, what they practice. They literally hit the road. Every single leader in the company hits a road and go meets the customer, understand what exactly he needs. Obviously, they also have automation in the business model, but empathy is where they really display. For me, if you have to give an example, every company has got different ways to display their empathy. But one of the largest example I would say in this platform is Sundaram Finance, because the model is designed like that. Everybody talks the same language. You go to a normal sales executive to the CEO, everybody talks the same language. So that is what is the best example I would say in the evolving AI and digital. I'm sure I've addressed your point.
Can I just give one quick example?
Please.
Classic is dark patterns. Default opt-in, right? There are a lot of such dark patterns we use in digital because we know that this will increase our click-through rate. A default opt-in increases my conversion rate by 2x, but a customer gets a insurance baked in by default, doesn't realize and goes and checks out. Now, if you're a really trustworthy lender, you'll not do that. There's a trade-off. I'll give another example. In ICICI, they recently announced that they will waive off prepayment penalty from all SME loans. They said, why should we charge? If the customer likes us, they'll come back. If they don't, they won't. There was a huge buzz. A lot of worry was there from business. We lose thousands of crores of fee income. They said, nothing will happen. Let's do it. They removed. Net, they have gained because the customers who went away have come back. They're saying that we actually prefer the experience. And now RBI has made it a rule that prepayment penalty is waived off. This is after 6 months. So, you have to be very, very true to your core. If you're really adding value, people will pay a premium for that. Most of the times we miss that out. So I think in digital, there are a lot of dark patterns. I can give you hundreds of examples where we just keep hiding information or keep doing tweaks so that the customer can miss that out. That's where the empathy and trust gets lost.
Well said.
And Zerodha is a classic example where they keep showing a lot of facts to people and say, you choose which brokerage house will say, do not trade. They are the ones who started talking about even before SEBI came up with those guidelines. So, it's about what you believe in, and very few companies manage to do that.
Thank you, guys. I'm sorry, I'll take you, whatever question I'll take offline. You're my new friend now. So, anything else? Thank you so much, speakers and wonderful audience. So, I could see none of you on your mobile phones, barring maybe one or two, no. Thank you so much.
Well, I request everyone to please give a huge round of applause for everybody. Come on. Thanks a lot, Dr. Kumaran Sampath. Your energy was just amazing, I must say. You started with lunch and then you talked about the tough things that we have after lunch when we attend any panel. And you made everyone lighter. You praised the women that we have here on stage. That really made everyone humble and smiling. Thank you so much. Can we have a huge round of applause for Dr. Kumaran? Well, talking about the session that we had now, talking about the customer experience, our experts really shared their best ideas. And talking about, like, concluding it, the more you are intimate with the client, you understand them really well. And as ma'am said, be the mentor of your customer with your own experience. That's the best idea we can have. So come on, everybody, one more time for the experienced lady that we have on the stage. Also, we added, it's not only about lending our customers, but also about understanding the integrity of any company. This is a wonderful thing that we learned today. And the most important point, as our moderator explained it twice, improve the experience and everybody wins, right? So that was really amazing. One more time, come on, let's clap for them. And let's felicitate all of them one by one. So I would like to request our moderator, Dr. Kumaran Sampath, to please come forward. And let's first felicitate Miss Jashoda Gulia, Head Strategic Alliances, Phoenix Capital. Come on, everybody, please put your hands together for her. Next, I would like to ask to come forward Ms. Purvi Bhavsar, co-founder and MD, Pahal Financial Services Private Limited. Next, I would like to request to please come forward Sunena Nagar, Deputy VP Treasury, SRG Housing Finance. Next lady I would like to ask to come forward, Miss Ambika Ravi, CEO, Vaina FinServ. Would like to call Mr. Anish Chaudhary, CBO and founding member, IBDIC. And last but not the least, Mr. Rohit Dubey, Technology Program Leader, Piramal Capital. And to felicitate our moderator, I would like to invite on stage Miss Neha Gupta. Our energetic moderator, Dr. Kumaran Sampath, the MD, CEO, Agma Capital Services Private Limited. Thank you. Ms. Neha, please be on the stage. Can we have a group picture for all the panelists and moderator and Ms. Neha Gupta?